So I'm talking about that the Active Directory services. Okay. So Active Directory services, the thing it is, what is Active Directory? We need to understand first thing. What are all the objects are available or how we create our objects? We should understand that thing. Why we use Active Directory? It is what the purpose of that thing, Active Directory, and where this Active Directory is supposed to be used in this current environment, or you can say where exactly on those entity side, where exactly it is supposed to be used. So we can understand these four aspects with the help of this slides. So what is Active Directory? Active Directory has an information about all the objects. It's containing all the objects. Means objects means users, computers, and resources like printer, share, file folder in the organization network. If I'm talking about organizational network, so it means that whenever, whatever the locations, the area which is covered by your organization, okay, so it will completely define as a network. They are interconnected with each other. If a user interact with the organization, so he is supposed to use a device. So that device is also an object. He is supposed to use the printer. So that printer is supposed to be the object. So he is using the shared file folder. So that is also comes in the object. So the Active Directory contains all this information inside it. So that's why we call it having that all the informations of all the objects. Like objects means either the user, computer, printer, folder, and everything which is supposed to be used in entire your organization network. Okay. And it is similar to the telephone directory. As I told you earlier also, telephone directory if you seen in your past or in the current situation also, like there is a telephone directory which contain the person number, person name, person and person like details about address details and all the things. So we can easily figure it out where this person is exact location, where is it located, what's his contact number, what's his name also. So that is the similar kind of thing we can supposed to work in this Active Directory side. If we having some knowledge about some user, so we can easily identify which locations this user is belong to, which project this person belong to, and also we can also define that thing, that person is coming from this domain side. What are all the projects is assigned by this person? Okay, so that is the similar kind of telephone directory. It is a software to arrange, store information, and provide access and permission based on the information. It is also, I told you, it is a database kind of activity. It is supposed to be worked by this Active Directory. So you can say that thing. It is an arrangement of the software or store the information. Information about whom, to provide them access, permission, and whatever the information they are supposed to require. So if you see in the left-hand side picture, there are lots of objects. They are directly connected with this kind of network. If the users
Hi, Karan.
are supposed to, yeah, now is it visible? Now it is visible.
Yes, it's visible.
Yeah.
Yes, it is.
So
Yeah.
I am in the fourth slide. Okay. So I'm talking about it is quite similar to that the telephone directory. Okay, and it gives the information about the software how it is supposed to be arranged. If you in the left hand side, there are lots of objects like computer, printer, user, and files and folders, and they are directly connected with an arrangement of these all the objects which are in isolated form. The arrangement you can see in the network. There are supposed to be the computer which having the shared folder, and the printer having the connected with the computers, and the computers are connected with the user. So these all are interconnected with each other in the organization. So through that way we can understand this thing, and Active Directory is supposed to be interconnect between all these activities. So I mean to say that thing, it is quite similar to store the information, to provide the access and permission to the users, and they can work with each other in a network. Okay. So one more thing, it is over
Please, I
there.
have a
It is, you can
question.
say it is,
I have a question, please, about the previous
yeah.
slide. So when you say that it's
Yeah.
similar to a telephone directory, if I'm linking that, that
Hmm.
means in our telephone we have different numbers of different people with their names, and so this is
Hmm.
going to be something whereby we also store, because we are looking more into having access to things, right? So this is software that we use to arrange people based on their level, the authorization and the authentication, right? Is this the same thing? I'm just trying to
Hmm.
put. Okay.
Yes, yes,
So
yes.
some
You
of them will
are.
have access, some will not have access,
Yes,
some have permission. So it's just a list of all the
yes,
people that will have
yes,
access
yes,
to everything. And we will use this Active Directory to be able to know the information about those people.
yes. You should be aware, and you should get the information about that all those peoples. Not only the people, any of that objects. If I'm talking about object, it means that it completes devices also be there, and rest of files folders it is supposed to be there, and even the user's information is supposed to be there.
Okay.
Those guys who are having the permissions and authority to do that activity. Right now, I am giving you the information, and I am assuming that you are an administrator side. Okay, so right now you are the Active Directory administrator and the Okta administrator. And you should think about like that if you are the administrator. So how you create your environment, how you design your environment in such a way so every information you should know about that thing, and each and every object has to be interconnected with each other in a network side. So if you think about that part, so you can easily understand this thing, then Active Directory will gives us a complete picture about that. How the
Okay.
arrangement and information storing has to be done. Okay.
Thank you. Okay.
So in the next slide, we can see that it is also the arrangement of network users, computers, and objects in a logical hierarchical grouping. So why it is calling as a network user? Like if I am working in one domain, okay, like I am the part of an organization, I am the part of Accenture, okay, and you are also the part of Accenture organization. But you are working in some different domain and I am working in some different domain. And your location is supposed to be different and my location is supposed to be different. But we both are working under a complete under one domain. Okay, like one domain means we are working on a similar kind of project, but our functionality are different. So that's why I'm saying that thing, how we can interchange our coding parameters, how can we can exchange our documents, how we can exchange our information to each other. So we should become up in a network side. So all the information, all of the user around the world, if they are connected under a one domain, so they can easily understand and easily share the information if they having the permission in that side. So that's why it is also called it a logical hierarchical grouping side. Like through logical hierarchical means in the information which is supposed to be surpasses to their child, which is coming from their parent side. Okay, I'll show you also how the this thing is supposed to be created. So an Active Directory is also the information which is used for authenticate and authorize the user. Correct? Like why this is supposed to be authenticate and authorized? Like if I am a user, like I have a Gmail account, okay, and Gmail store their user information somewhere in the cloud. Okay. So like if I am entering my credentials, so this my credential are supposed to be authenticated by the Google Active Directory side, like Google Cloud side. If they understand that thing, that user means the current having that type of credentials, so I can let him in inside that the Google platform either not. So he is also checking. So that's why Active Directory is also going to do this activity, whether he's supposed to authenticate and authorize the user, which are supposed to be the computer resources and any part of the network. So to give the information about that right candidate side. So like over in the picture, a user is authenticating to this CPU side, to the device side on the network side. If he successfully authenticated, then he's supposed to do some activity and share the information to the entire network. Now we are supposed to check out what type of objects are we doing. So objects are basically physical entity on the network side. Physical entity means like if we are having like any of the things, like if we are Yeah.
Sorry to interrupt in between. Actually, I would like to know since like authentication and authorization does to take place in the Active Directory itself, right? So, what will be the role of Okta in here?
No. Okay, I'll tell you. Like if you are creating any user over here, no, first thing it is to be there. I am not supposed to tell you over Okta over there. Okay, Okta is something different platform. Okay, we are supposed to be telling you. I am telling you about only that Active Directory side right now. I will tell you in a later session how the Okta is interconnected with this Active Directory. Okay. Right now we are checking only the one technology which is supposed to be Active Directory side. Okay. Like
Okay. So
if your
once like we
information,
are integrating this Active Directory with Okta, so at that time will the
hmm,
authentication and authorization will be taking place by Okta only, or will Active Directory will be the part of that thing? Like how it will be like, is it from the Active Directory side or the Okta side?
like Okta is on that time, whether the Active Directory is connected with the Okta, on that time we are using the Okta. We are using the Okta platform to authenticate our users. We are using the Okta platform to authenticate the user. Okay. On that time, Okta is not supposed to authenticating the user. Only Active Directory is supposed to authenticate the user. But when we are integrating any other application with the Okta, on that time, Okta is going to authenticate the user for that application. Okay. So Okta is behaving bi-directional. Okta is behaving like an identity provider or even the service provider also. Okay, on that time.
Okay.
So if I am saying like I'll show you your question is valid and I will show you one thing with the help of such diagram. Okay, so if I'm talking about this thing, this is an Active Directory or this is my user. Okay, so he is supposed to be get inside this Active Directory to make his authentication for this particularly user. So on that time, this Active Directory is supposed to be his identity access management side. Okay, but in the same case, whether we are supposed to choose Okta and over here is the Active Directory. If the user is entering inside the Okta, his ID is supposed to be authenticating from that the Active Directory. Okay, this is the second scenario. And now the third scenario. This is the Okta, this is our Active Directory, and this is the other application. This is might be the other application. Okay, on that time, what happens if user authenticating in the particularly application, this application. So application redirected to the Okta and Okta redirected to the Active Directory for his authentication. And after that thing, what happened? Active Directory give the permission to the Okta. This is the right user. I have this user information. On that time, Okta authenticate the user for this particularly application. So on that
Okay.
time, Okta becoming the service provider over here. Sorry, so not the service provider, identity provider over here.
Identity provider.
Because he is providing the information to the application, so he is becoming the identity provider. But right now it is behaving like a service provider. In that, if we are talking about Okta and Active Directory only. I'll show you how the things are going on. You can easily understand in the later picture once we created all the things practically in our lab site. So that is not
Okay.
a big
But
challenge for this.
overall, if we see, so authentication does take place from Active Directory only, right?
Yes, yes. You should be understand that every authentication has to be taken care from the Active Directory side because user information has to be stored over there, and that is the only delegated authentication area.
Okay. And for the authorization, like is it Active Directory only or Okta?
Authorization has to be given up to the particularly application side. So if his person is authenticated, then he is authorized to work in Okta premises or rest of the application also.
Okay.
Okay. Okay. So over here we are in the object side. So what are all the objects of the Active Directory? These are the objects. We call it forest, domain, organizational units, users, contact, computer, share folder, printer, site, subnet. These all are the objects of the Active Directory. So, but if I am talking about objects, it means that they are interconnected with each other to making the Active Directory complete. Okay. Once we are doing the practical, you can easily understand. For now, you just understand the terminologies, why we call it the forest, why we call it the domain, why we call it the organization unit and the user and rest of the things. So now objects are the examples like attributes. Like if a user having the name, location, department, so it means that user John is having rest of information. So that is becoming some of the attributes of the particular user. So these are the user attributes, name, location, department. So these are the user attributes. If we are clubbing our user, computer, printer in one, you can say the one architecture or one network, we call it as a container object. If we are individually taking up, like we are individually taking user, if we are individually taking printer, we are individually taking the computer or printer, so we call it as a leaf object. Leaf means the individual identity objects. If we are clubbing them, we call it as a container object. So these are some of the terminologies you should little bit understand, because you are not supposed to be becoming the Active Directory administrator. You are supposed to be becoming the Okta Directory. Okay, but we should understand that thing, so it is easy to understand on the later on the Okta side also for you. Okay, so in the object side, these are some security principal objects, which is having GOID and SID also. Okay, whether we are creating any type of user, so some of the authentication and assignment permission are given to the particularly user. So we call it as in the term of GUID, which is 128-bit globally unique identifier, and SID is security identifier for the particularly user. Now we call it as a forest. Why we call it as a forest? Forest is like a complete, in the, if I'm talking about in a real world scenario, so in real world, what we you mean by the forest? A forest is like a, which is containing all their types of animals, all types of trees, all types of plants, all types of rivers, whatever the things forest is having. So we call it as a complete jungle or complete scenario in the real world scenario. So right now in the forest, why we call it a term in Active Directory forest? Because it is the highest level of security boundary. Okay, highest level of security boundary means all the livings, non-livings, and whatever the things are be there in the forest, they are situated under one umbrella. So that we call it a complete forest. Okay. So similarly in this Active Directory, whatever our all the users which are located in around the globe, around the world also, so they are completely comes under one tree or one forest. So forest becoming that the highest level of security boundary. So all the network, all the user, all the information are with there, and they are interconnect and exchanging the information between all of them. Okay, like if we are talking about like in the real scenario in the forest side, some of the carnivorous animals are be there, some are omnivorous animals are be there, some high small plants are be there, some high trees are be there. Okay, but if we are containing all of them, so that becoming a complete forest, and the information and the exchanging of their, for their appetite, for their living purpose, for all the things, for all the animals, they are interconnected and making a biological network over there. So similar kind over here, the Active Directory forest is also be there. They are interchange and they are exchanging their information inside their each forest. Like if you see in the picture, we have two hands, left hand side and the right hand side. Here is becoming a one domain, and left hand side also becoming a domain, and domain is connected with other domain, and the right hand side also one domain is connected to the other domain. If we are containing, if we are domains are interconnected with each other domains, so then we call it as a domain tree. Okay, under the forest there is a domain tree or a domain. So that is some type of hierarchy or the scheme of the design has to be come up in the information exchanging. So that's why we call it as a forest. Okay, and the domain size it is supposed to be, if we are seeing in this picture, a forest having the domains, and what domains is having? Domains having all the other objects which are supposed to be inside the thing. Like if I am working for a project, so that means my project domain, and then my name is comes to there. Okay, my identity comes to there. So which domain I am belonging, XYZ, it's my domain, and then my name is comes to over there. So similarly, whatever the information, whatever the devices is allocated to me, that all are comes under that XYZ domain. So that type of things we need to create in a hierarchical manner. So the information and exchanging of the information come over it. Then the domain tree. Why we call it a domain tree? Because tree connected with, oh sorry, domain is connected with other domain, and that domain connected with the child domain. So the exchanging of information is work like a parent-child relationship. A bigger level of the domain, parent domain, gives the information to the child domain, and that child domain 1 giving the information to the child domain 2. Then interchanging to A, B, C is comes to that way. And that is the one-way trust has to be make out in the domain level things. Like if domain 1 user wanted to access domain 3 project, so he's supposed to be work or he's supposed to be access that functionality also, because each and every domain treating and behaving like a trust between them. So on that way they can easily understand what they required, what the information they required. And like a similar way, if you are working in a US or something in a US city or US location, and you wanted to fax it out from to different location of your domain side of the same company, so you can easily connect with that thing, because you are connected into the one network, you are connected into the one domain. So the information of exchanging has to be quite easy for you. Once we are creating, you can easily understand that thing also. Now this is the very interesting part. OU. OU means organizational unit. How the organization unit are supposed to be defined. Like if you are working in an organization, so organization having majorly 4 pillars. One is your admin section, second is your HR system, third is your finance system, fourth is your marketing system. Okay, so similarly, one OU having 4 verticals, then each vertical having their multiple verticals. Okay, so that is we call it as an organization unit. How the organization is supposed to be organized in a way, so the information or the exchanging of the information comes in a later on to the parent to the child side. Okay, so this is the organization unit. I'm talking about basically that the organization units, how it is to be defined in the way, like in your organization having major verticals are be there, like your partners are be there, resellers are be there, HR and the finance teams it is supposed to be there. Then they again having some other entities inside that thing. In the picture you see that if the resellers are be there, so either they are customer or the users, or even in the finance teams either they the users or the objects are be located. So organization unit is basically in a hierarchical manner of the arrangement of the information which are interconnected with each other. So I'm talking about basically why and where exactly these Active Directory is supposed to be used. Okay, so this is supposed to be that the highly secure area, because it's having the multiple layer of security it is to be there. Policies and permission are supposed to be there, and there is locate anywhere from the physical side, so you can interconnect your resources with the help of domains and the network. Millions of users are added in the single domain. You can add them multiple or the millions of user inside one thing. It is easily accessible, highly flexible, and readable site. And it is easy, efficient, and search mechanism. It is supposed to be there to locate the user inside it. It is a centralized storage area, like any of type of the backup and restoration has to be happen over here. It is efficient, effective management supposed to be there, and it serves like a exchange site or the SharePoint site. It gives you the way of single sign-on and pre and post scripting, whether at the time of logon or the scripts. Any individual profile you can maintain inside that thing, and some mandatory profiles are supposed to be used inside that thing. Even in the Active Directory side, your auditing purpose has to be successfully trace it out. It is a centralized information, so easy to maintain your operations also. So Active Directory basically applied or implemented in government offices, schools, research organizations, hospital, non-government organization, and the corporate. And this is one-stop solution for everything. Like it is a secure, easy, efficient, effective, and flexible also. So that's why we use the Active Directory in a high efficient manner. Okay. So guys, I just wanted one of your person screen who is supposed to be share, so I can easily tell you how we creating all these things stuff which you seen in the PPT. You can easily create in your side also. Any of you can share your screen. Okay, now
Okay. Where should I go?
go to the same area, Active Directory user and computers. Move slowly. You can use your mouse. You can move it very slowly.
Okay.
So over here, there's shivacloud.com. It is supposed to be your forest. I'm telling to you. So in the forest, they whatever you are seeing over here, bulletin, computer, domain controller, foreign security principal, managed services account, and the users, they all are come up under your forest site. So they are becoming like bullet computer. They all are right now becoming your the objects on your forest site. Okay. So computer is one of the objects, users is one of the objects, bulletin is one of the objects. Okay. So these by default objects are come up in the picture. But under the forest, we are supposed to create our own domain controller. First thing, like domain tree, or you can say the domain controller, or you can say the domain we are supposed to create. Just right click over there in the sivacloud.com.
This one.
Not here, not here, that side. Now go to the new button so it can
Okay.
easily work. Now in the new you can go there and use OU. There is an organization unit
Okay.
supposed to be there. Now click over there. Yes, click over here.
I have clicked. God, I have so. This is so annoying. Okay.
Okay, now you have created the OU. Now name it your organization name, sivacloud.com.
That's not. Um. Okay.
Okay, now click on OK button. So what you see over here, there is one more sivacloud.com has been created. Okay, so what exactly that means? So the previous one sivacloud.com is our forest. Now we created our domain under our forest, sivacloud.com. Now what under it has to become in the domain, we can create our all of the OUs are be there. So the shivacloud.com, you can seems like, or you can assume that thing, this is your organization, shivacloud.com. Every user, every devices, every resource has to be the part of this organization, shivacloud.com. Okay. So now you, whatever the verticals of your organization are there, you can create all those verticals inside your shivacloud.com domain or the domain name. Okay. So now right click again over it.
Is it the one or the first one?
Yes, this is one. Now go to the new again and click on OU. OU means organization unit. Now in the shivacloud.com, what all the pillars you wanted in your organization? You wanted the finance department also be there. Now create one finance department. Just write it down finance. Okay. That is also fine. Or this is also fine. Yeah. Click on OK. So this is the one department has been created. Now again go back there shivacloud.com and create HR department, marketing department and IT department in a similar way. And Muskan and Anne, you can also create your own on your machine these kind of activities. So you can easily check if you are having such issues. So you can tell me, I can guide you how you are creating your organization over here.
So I still need help with mine, but let her finish hers, then you can help me get to where
Yes,
she
yes,
is from.
yes. Yeah,
Thank
of
you.
course. IT department. One is left, HR department. Okay. Now in your organization, shivacloud.com, you created your core departments. Okay. So under the core department, what you required? You required some users are supposed to be there. Okay. So now do one thing. I'll tell you one how to create it. Then rest of users you are supposed to create by yourself. Okay. Now go back to the new again. We want that one user supposed to be created.
So am I
Create.
creating the
Go
am
to
I so am I gonna create can I create a user under finance department?
yes. Now you are supposed to be
Okay.
create one user. Okay. So where exactly you can click on the user, give the name of that user.
Can you tell us again what was the step I lost in between for this user? How to create user?
You can go to the department and right click over there and go to the new, and under the new, previously you are choosing organization unit, now you are choosing users. In the Salvia there are not supposed to be a gap inside between them.
Oh, okay. So I should just I put a period. Should I just say Sylvia
No,
and then what?
no, no. It's complete one name, Sylvia O, or either O Sylvia. Not in the
Okay.
full name, not in the full name.
In the logon name,
In the
right? It has to be Sylvia.
yeah,
Oh,
in the
okay.
logo, yes, yes, in the logo name, yes.
Okay.
So you see over there Sylvia O at the rate Sylvia SivaCloud.com. So your domain name is supposed to be coming over there, correct? So that is
Yep.
becoming yeah, that is becoming the user email ID under your domain. Now
Okay.
click on the next button. Now, first thing I just tell you, there is a check box over there. So uncheck the first one, check the second one and the third one only. And you can create the password for this user also. And I will tell you that thing, whether you are creating a password, you can create your password for all your users for the same. Okay, you can use the same password. You can create the same password for all your users. So you didn't forget what the password of this user. Okay,
Okay. So
because
so in a real life scenario, right, when you're creating this user, so
yeah.
for example, if this person is a new employee and we need to add that the new employee under finance department, am I supposed
Hmm.
to save this password and give it to the user in an email, or what? How does it?
Hmm.
What is the connection? I mean, how does the person or the user I'm creating have access to this password that I'm creating? Is this password for me or for the user?
No, first time, like right now, you are the administrator. Okay, you are creating a temporary password for this user. Correct. Once the
Uh-huh.
user log in with a temporary password, so he have the right to change his password also. So
Okay.
then he changed his password. So that password is automatically updated in the Active Directory.
Okay. So in that case, that means I will not have to choose this user cannot change password.
So on that case, right now I am telling you, right now there is no user come up, okay, in this scenario. But if the real time scenario, if the users come up, so uncheck that. Okay.
Okay. So yeah, that's what I'm trying to yeah, so then I click on next, finish.
Yes. Now you know how to create the user. The rest of the users you are supposed to be create under each and every department. 4 users under each and every department. Okay.
Okay.
Now
So
I
do
am
you want
giving. Now you can create by own and make Anne as a presenter. This is one of the tasks for you. Okay, Salvia, for today's session.
so I just have to
Tomorrow,
create four, I just have to create four users
4, yes.
to under
Each and
each
every each,
department.
yeah,
Okay.
department. But for my recommendation to you, you can choose the same password for all the users. Okay,
Okay.
because why it is going to be required? Because we are supposed to authenticating this user in the Okta. So on that time, this password is supposed to be worked with a lot of time. Yes, and where are you? Yes,
Now,
yes, yes. Go ahead. Go to the tools.
this one.
In the menu, there is a
Sorry, I should go to
manage
where?
tools. Yeah, tools. Yeah.
Okay, tools. Okay.
Now click on user computer. You are not supposed to be created so far the Active Directory. Why?
Sorry, what did
You
you
need
say?
to. I said that you didn't create Active Directory so far. So first thing you need to create your Active Directory.
Okay, it's not created.
Yeah, you can check our yesterday session.
Okay.
Then you are supposed to do this thing. You can
Okay, I'll check it tomorrow.
you can click on add roles and features and do that activity. You just check
Okay.
it out that the yesterday session you can easily understand. So that
Okay.
is your task to create your Active Directory. Then
Okay.
you need to supposed to create the users and all. Now give it the presenting for the Muskan. Make
Okay,
the
so I'll check
presenter.
this section,
Yeah.
create the Active
You can.
Directory, then I'll check today's section for what
Yes.
Sylvia has done. Okay.
Yes.
So
Yes. Yes.
who am I making presenter now?
Sorry.
I've made you the presenter.
Yeah, Muskan.
Okay.
And Sylvia, your task is to creating the user, and you are supposed to check with yesterday's session and today's session to reach on the right. area where we are supposed to be there in tomorrow's session. Okay. Yeah, you created finance, HR, marketing, and IT. That is fine. And inside that thing, you are supposed to create your users. Okay. You created finance on the Muskan, HR, Muskan 2, Muskan 3, Muskan 4. Muskan, you can do one thing. You can give some names which are supposed to be like a meaningful area. Okay. So it is quite easy for you to understand which user is belongs to which department. Okay. There are n number of names are with there in the. You can give any number of name to them. Okay.
Okay.
But you understand that thing how to create that user, and it is quite easy for you to do this activity. Just make 4 users.
Okay.
Okay, guys. So